Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is, James. Good to see you.
Likewise. Beautiful suit.
And you as well. The Lord has been kind to both of us.
Still answering prayer.
Yeah, and I'm grateful, tremendously grateful.
And we're grateful for you all being here with us on today. It's going to be a great show. We also want to encourage you to go to YouTube and become a subscriber.
Right. It's a place to go to find out what Real People, Real Voices is doing. We need you to be a part of our audience to help us to realize that we're doing a great job meeting the conversation for the community, and hopefully that some of you out there who are watching will become sponsors.
And speaking of sponsors, we want to thank Lee Kossel and Crawley.
Yeah, we want to thank Stewart Mortuary, who's been in our community for over 50 years.
And the Fervent Care Christian Academy.
Yes, it's a place where children can learn.
Yeah. Call us at 317-898-2751. The information is there on the screen. Also, we certainly are excited about the show on today. We're going to be talking about some very, very important things. We're going to be joined by a very esteemed guest.
Right.
Esteemed
Mr. Garrett.
guest, yeah, to talk about Black Barbershop Health Initiative.
Right. A different conversation coming from the barbershop.
Yeah. What they say, if you want to find out about it,
yeah.
You go to the barbershop and a beauty shop.
But this is a different conversation.
This is a different one. This is a different,
totally different one.
Different conversation. So we want you to stick with us on this, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And we're joined today by Mr. James Garrett, Jr. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you, Mr. Garrett.
Thank you.
Tell us about the Black Barbershop Health Initiative.
Well, we're really excited about the Indiana Black Barbershop Health Initiative. This will be our 8th year. The Black Barbershop Health Initiative is designed to impact black males in an environment they're extremely comfortable in, the barbershop.
Yeah.
Any and everything can be discussed in the barbershop. So why not talk about health and how we can live longer? So the Barbershop Initiative is designed to screen black males, and we also screen females and any individual in the barbershop for body mass index, blood glucose, and blood pressure. And we have health information, and we talk about the importance of screenings and staying on top of your health. In essence, managing your health as opposed to simply allowing your health to fall into crisis and you going to the emergency room. We want black males to live longer. We want them to spend more time with their families, with their children, with their nieces and nephews and grandchildren. And in order for that to happen, black males have to take charge of their health as it relates to preventable diseases. And diabetes and hypertension are preventable diseases.
Yeah, preventable.
Preventable. How did you get to the point to where the mindset got to the barbershop, where these things could literally take place in the barbershop?
Well, the genesis for the Indiana Black Barbershop Health Initiative came from Dr. William Relaford, a podiatrist out of California. He initiated in 2007 the Black Barbershop Health Outreach. He approached a colleague of mine in the state of Indiana in 2010 on wanting to do an outreach initiative in the city of Evansville. And so we said, well, why not look at doing more than just the city of Evansville in 2011? And so the first barbershop initiative in Indiana was held in 6 cities in about 30 barbershops. We got community partners, we got leaders, and we got the barbers to come on board to want to allow us to utilize their shop for this very, very important health initiative.
That's phenomenal, and it's still going strong today.
This is the 8th year. 2018 is the 8th year.
You know, a goal to screen 1,000 participants.
Yes, that's our goal. We hope to screen 1,000 participants. The screenings occur from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Local time. And we will have this year probably 58 barbershops and 2 beauty salons. I have a capped venue of 60 based on my budget.
Okay, throughout Indiana.
Yes, and that will be in approximately 15 cities.
That's phenomenal.
And one of the things, as I understand it, that you all want to do is get folks to complete a health assessment survey.
Right.
Yes.
What are some of the things that will be on that survey?
Well, the health assessment asks, how do you rate your overall health? Poor, fair, good, pretty good, or excellent? And that question is designed to get people to start thinking about their health. And then there are questions about, do you diet? Do you eat, fruits and vegetables? And if you do, how many times a day or a week do you consume fruits and vegetables? We also pose the question, do you smoke or do you use tobacco products? Would you like to quit? One of our partners for this initiative is the Indiana Tobacco Cessation folks, the 1-800-QUIT-NOW folks. And so what we're trying to do is engage individuals on their health, get them to think about it, get them to be cognizant of what their BMI is, what the body mass index means, what that figure means, what their blood pressure numbers are, what those figures mean, and what their blood glucose level is, and what that number means to them. And have a conversation about hypertension, about diabetes.
Right.
Our community calls it sugar. We want individuals to understand what diabetes is and how preventable it is. And we also want them to understand what hypertension is, the silent killer.
Yeah.
Well, why is it a silent killer? Because you don't have any outward signs of distress or anything being wrong with you, but your blood pressure, if it's extremely elevated, it can lead to a stroke or it can lead to death.
It shows up when it wants to.
Yes.
Yeah. And Mr. Garrett, when we start talking about screenings, a lot of black men and men in general are very apprehensive about anything you want to talk about the prostate.
Right.
Yes.
So certainly men should not shy away from getting tested or getting screened. What can men, particularly black men in this scenario, expect when they come into the barbershop with regard to prostate screening?
Well, we don't do prostate screenings in the barbershop. Now, what we do is we engage them and we have a discussion about prostate health. Anyone who is age 34 or older, we strongly suggest that they get a PSA test taken. And that allows us to provide information to black males because it seems as though they feel the only way the prostate can be examined is through the digital means, and that's not the case.
Yeah, through the rear end.
Right. Yeah. We want them to understand it's a simple blood draw, and then if your PSA numbers are high or extremely high, then you'll be referred to a urologist, for further examination for your prostate. But it's really very simple. And what I do in each of the barber shops that is participating, I attempt to get screened because I try to lead by example. So I show the men how simple and how quick the screen takes. It's 2.5, 3 minutes. You stand on a scale, then they ask you your height, it calculates your body mass index, they do a quick finger prick, the blood draw gives the blood glucose, they put a blood pressure cuff on, they take your blood pressure, and while you're waiting on your barber or your turn, you get screened, and it's non-invasive and doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah. Don't take better care of your car than your body.
It's been said that we do that. We will pamper our cars. We will wash them and wax them. And
keep the oil change and all that.
But we also, the body is the temple, so we also have to take care of ourselves in order to spend more time with our family, our children, grandchildren, and be within our community as the leaders we've been called to be.
So has this initiative already started, or is it coming up?
It is coming up. It is, the initiative takes place in the month of April. April is Minority Health Month. And we will start this year in Northwest Indiana. We will do a kickoff in the city of Gary at Cut Time Barbershop on, Cut Time 41 Barbershop on Cleveland Avenue in Gary, Indiana on April 6th. Then on April 7th, the first Saturday in April, we will have screenings occurring in East Chicago, Hammond, Gary, and Maryville.
So you're up in the northern part of the state.
Yes,
great.
the first weekend.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, Doctor, or I should say Mr. Garrett, thank you for coming today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Been a great guest. Stay with us. We got much more to come. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Certainly want to thank our sponsors,
Yes,
Lee
we do.
Castle and Crawley,
And the Stewart Mortuary and Fervent Prayer.
Fervent Care Child,
Yeah.
Christian Academy.
Yeah, doing a great job over there.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Give them a call at 317-898-2751. Also, we would love for you to become subscribers on YouTube. Go to YouTube, subscribe at WHMB TV 40. Also, go to Facebook and like us on Facebook.
Yeah, I like that, James. Like us on Facebook.
Yeah, we need some people to support us. And speaking of support, formerly IndyCan now is Faith in Indy. And we are joined by Nicole Barnes, Director of Civic Engagement and Operations. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. And Frances Dash, Communications Director.
Yes, thank you.
So things are changing
Oh, yeah.
at formerly IndyCan. A lot of people know it as IndyCan, which is more of a local operations. What brought about the change?
Well, what brought about the change was initially the discussions that we were having here locally. We realized that this was just not Indianapolis. And people were learning about what we were able to do here with transit and some of the things that we were doing with our efforts in mass incarceration. So we started to look at what that would turn into, what that might require. And, you know, a lot of these issues, they're not border sensitive, right? What happens to a Hoosier here is important to Hoosiers all over the state. So long story short, we looked into that effort, started having conversations, and decided that it was time for us to spread out and to spread out our efforts and really start addressing these issues on a statewide level.
Very important, because these issues certainly are across the state of Indiana. Voter engagement is very important. Folks talk about voter suppression and all those kinds of things. You guys are working on that. How important is that to what is now Faith in Indy, and how are you all dealing with that?
Yeah, so we are very intentional about reaching out to voters who are typically unlikely, people that are not traditionally reached out to. And we want to make sure that people who are most directly impacted by the issues that are presented are the ones that are represented and do understand what their rights are as voters. When you talk about voter suppression, it makes me vividly think about every time. In 2016, we were at the fire station on the corner of 42nd and Midhofer, and the election day, it was soggy, it was rain, it poured down rain all day. And I just remember people wrapped around that tiny fire station trying to get in. And it was very important for us to encourage people, hey, stay here. Like, your vote matters. Your life depends on it. Make sure that you have your voice heard and be a part of the process. So that's very important to us, to make sure people activate their power that they have within and work together collectively. And it worked brilliantly.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Since we're talking about voter suppression.
Yes, sir.
What are you going to do as it relates to the idea of having more than one off-site voting?
Yes.
What are you doing with that off-site vote? Because it's very important, because we're experiencing all across the country, but especially in Indiana, a great press of voter suppression.
Absolutely.
What are you doing to create off-site voting, to expand it, and everybody have access to voting? What are you doing?
Yeah, so we are, because collectively, historically, we haven't done a whole lot with that. That's new territory to us. So we have been communicating with people who do have some experience with that and expanding that. We do recognize that that's an issue. There's only one early voting site in Indianapolis. It's downtown. It's from 6 to 6. If people work till 6, they can't vote, you know, and then the weekend hours are Quonky, you know. So we do recognize that that is a major issue, but I can't speak specifically to what our plans are because we've just, historically, that's not been something that we are experienced in, but we do recognize that it's a huge issue, it's a major issue, and it is something that we want to work towards improving for sure, because that's the only way we're going to get people to vote and have it be fair for us to make sure that the opportunity is created for everybody.
You're looking at voter engagement, but are you looking at alleviating, you know, there's certain aspects and angles to voter engagement.
Sure.
But are you going to take time to look at the suppression?
Suppression,
of it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's specifically what I'm talking about, yes.
Right. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. I was just curious because that's a national problem.
Right.
And it's really difficult in Indianapolis or in the Marion County and other places. You did mention about the transit situation. What type of work did you do on the transit situation to get it across the finish line?
Yeah, so we did a lot of grassroots organizing. We phone banked for 12 weeks. We talked to like I said, unlikely voters, so we talked to households of color, some returning citizens, some felons. We talked to people who were traditionally not reached out to by traditional campaigns, and we were specific in doing that we activated people of color, marginalized groups, et cetera. So we had phone banking, we did door canvassing, we knocked on people's doors, we registered people to vote at their doors, or even at downtown at the Marion County, at the City County building. We also did a Get Out to Vote campaign where we were at different sites, different poll sites where we had people there.
All to push transit across.
All to make sure that people understood how important transit was for our communities, for sure.
So, and I want to ask Francine, the mayor has included in his criminal justice reform plan, the ceasefire initiative.
Correct.
So talk to us about what Faith in Action is going to be doing to deal with the urban gun violence.
Well, just to back up just a little bit, what we did with the mayor and a representative from his office was to introduce the concept to the city, and we were showing in other cities how not just the policing, but the community aspect piece had to be a part of this in order for it to be successful. So now that the mayor and the chief of police have now agreed to implement this plan, we're in the beginning stages of hiring a key person in the role that would oversee the program. This person's role would be making sure that, of course, we have the policing side, but having the community side. And what that means is when you're addressing people who are at risk for committing serious violent crimes, putting wraparound services on the table that they have a choice to take advantage of before putting themselves in a situation where they would go to jail or a crime would be committed. So we're really in the beginning stages of that process. We've brought that work. I think they just put the job announcement out, as a matter of fact. So we're really excited about having that finally come back to the city. As you know, we had something similar to that in the 90s that just kind of went away. But now bringing it back.
Are you talking about 10 Point?
No, I'm talking about IVRP.
Oh, yeah, lever pulling.
Exactly.
That was 10 Point.
That was 10 Point. Okay, I didn't realize that.
And they're still around.
Yeah, right, they're still around. So, but this part is counseling services, also addressing employment options and opportunities, and we found that mental health services were needed as well. So there are going to be a whole host of services beyond that that would be made available, and that person, that key role that's being filled needs to be someone that is, of course, respected by the police officers and the policing, but also someone who has credibility in the community.
All right. Well, you all have been great guests today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best to the expansion.
Yes, of Faith, Indiana.
Faith
in Indiana, that's correct.
And would it be precipitous for me to say that the expansion of what was formerly called IndyCan, now Faith in Indy, is an expansion of PICO, which is the national organization? Would it be safe to say?
I guess, yes, it would be safe to say. We are a federation, a state federation that's part of the national arm of PICO.
You're the arm for them.
Yes, yes.
You're in their hands.
Yeah, be a strong artist. We'll be back with the rundown after this. Welcome back to the Rundown. I'm James Jackson, your host.
And I'm your co-host, Wayne Moore. The Rundown is here, and we have Faith with us.
Ooh, I'm Faith McKinney, your executive producer. You're too much fun. We're having too much fun here.
Yeah.
Great guest, I keep wanting to say Dr. Garrett, but Mr. Garrett, I think they're right on point with taking the initiative to where the people are.
Yeah. Taking it from a clinical perspective and putting it in a grassroots area, the barbershop. And they're looking for 1,000 participants this year. And hopefully the people who are in the barbershop will get information about prostate, will get information about glucose or diabetes. I think it's phenomenal taking it out to the streets like that, if I might use that term.
And hopefully barbershop owners will latch on to this.
Yes.
And allow the folks to come in and do it.
Oh, yeah. I have 2 uncles who own barbershops on Cheatham and Moore Barbershop and Moore's Barbershop on Illinois Street. And I'm sure they'll participate. They've always been fixtures in the community.
Right.
So, yeah.
Especially since you've just said it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go by Cheatham's and Moore's.
That's right.
Mr. Lee's in there.
That's right.
And the folks from formerly IndyCan becoming Faith in Indiana.
And I want to thank them for naming it after me because I am Faith in Indiana.
You are Faith.
You are Faith in Indiana.
Yeah. Great
You're the good Faith in Indiana.
I'm the good Faith in Indiana.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I do. They did fail to mention about their founding convention coming up April 21st, 2018 this year. It's from 1 to 4 p.m. at North United Methodist Church right on 38th and Meridian.
Right.
Yeah. So we want to thank those of you who have joined us on today, and you can watch this show on Sundays at 5:30, Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Also want to encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, WHMB TV 40, and subscribe. A lot of valuable information you can glean from the program today and other programs that you might have missed. Also, please go to Facebook. And
like us on Facebook.
Yes, like our sponsors too.
And our sponsors, yes. Stewart Mortuary and
Lee Castle and Crawling.
Fervent Care Christian Academy.
And Shapiro's.
Shapiro's helps us out. And the food is delicious today.
Absolutely. Very good.
I look forward to it.
I do too. I enjoy the fellowship. I enjoy watching people eat. And they enjoy themselves, the cast, and everybody enjoys themselves, and that's what it's all about. Have a great fellowship when we are here today.
Yeah.
When we're here, rather. Say it that way.
And we've enjoyed all of you. We'll see you next time on Real People, Real Voices.